What's up, people? I'm back with another video. It's Hood Astrology here. And today, we're going to be talking about the planets of the Zodiac. And not just any Zodiac. The Vedic Astrology Zodiac. Or, as I call it, or as they call it, aka Side Wheel Astrology Zodiac. Side Real Astrology Zodiac. But okay, here we go. Alright, the planets of the Zodiac. I'm pretty sure a lot of you, if you've seen my other video where I was naming down the Zodiac signs, I was also naming the planets that rule those Zodiac signs too. So, what I'm going to do on this video is focus specifically on those planets. Alright. So, the luminaries. Sun and the moon. Sun is the ego. Sun is a part of what represents your personality in a chart, along with moon and your ascendant. But sun also represents, some say, your career. Sun also represents your father. Okay? Moon represents your mother. Moon represents your emotions. Moon represents the mind, your perception, how you view everything around you. That's the moon, your perception, your mind. Mars represents muscles. Mars represents anger, your aggression. All things like when you go on like athletes, war, the typical Mars thing. Represents the color red, stuff like that. Say sun is like yellow, orange, moon, white, Mars, red. You know what I'm saying? Alright, and Mercury represents communication. Mercury represents your intellect. How you analyze things. Mercury also represents your siblings. Mars represents your brothers. It can represent your siblings too. And Mercury, it represents your siblings as well. Color green. Alright, Venus. Venus represents love. In a man's chart, Venus can represent his girlfriend, his wife, the type of women he attracts in his life. In a woman's chart, Venus can represent the type of woman she is, or the women in her life. Since males tend to identify more with their masculine energy, the sun and the Mars, they tend to draw more to the sun and Mars energies. Women, since they tend to draw near more to their feminine energy, like Venus and the moon kind of represent more of the woman's energy. But yeah, Venus represents love, the wife in a man's chart, the type of women he attracts in his life, type of women that's in a woman's life. Venus can also represent like a lot of wealth. a lot of money. You know, Venus can represent like billionaires, like like Venus in a good placement can make someone a billionaire. That's what it can do. Like opulent wealth, as they call it. Venus in a good placement. Jupiter is what represents like wealth, money. Like how much money you gonna have. That's Jupiter. But Venus can also represent money, but like opulent wealth. I mean, Jupiter, it's like two different types of wealth. Like Jupiter can represent money, Venus can represent money. But Jupiter is above Venus in that will represent finances. Some say Jupiter is the planet of millionaires and Venus is the planet of billionaires. I'm just repeating what well-known astrology who I trust said, but I look at it as me. If you ask me personally, I look at Jupiter more important for your finances. But if a person has a well-placed Venus, they can also be abundant and have a lot of money. So, but I think Jupiter should be at least decent or well strong enough in their chart as well. But anyway, okay, like we was focusing on Venus. So that's Venus. Okay, now Jupiter represents money. You know what I'm saying? Jupiter represents teachers, gurus. I'm saying Jupiter, it represents religion. I'm saying philosophers. Saying spirituality, luck. All right. Now Saturn represents manual laborers. Saturn can represent your career also. Saturn represents oil. Saturn represents real estate. Mars represents real estate as well. Saturn is more of an agricultural real estate, land. You know what I'm saying? Saturn represents old people. Saturn represents boundaries, restrictions. All right. Now, with those being the planets, I know y'all gonna be asking me like, all right, what about Neptune? What about Uranus? What about Pluto? I mean, those planets are not really used in Vedic astrology. I understand they're used in Western astrology, but in Vedic astrology, they're not really used. I mean, I know some astrologers might go and use them. They might read the definitions or the Western definitions of them, or they might figure out definitions of them themselves. But for me right now, I'm not going to use them because they're not used in Vedic astrology unless it's by a specific person. But what I am going to do is talk about two other points in a person's chart that it's like they're considered planets, but they're not really planets. It's like it's the two opposite sides of the moon. That's the way I'm gonna put it. Rahu and Ketu. I think some people call them the two opposite sides of the moon. All right, but Rahu and Ketu, they're like connected, but they're not. It's like the head and the tail. Where one is, the other one is going to be on the opposite end at the exact same degree. All right, so Rahu and Ketu. Rahu, they say like they're kind of similar. Rahu and Ketu, they kind of have like, they kind of do the similar things. Like they say they're both magnificent or whatever you call that, but it's like Rahu is what you're obsessed with, your obsessions in life, what you just can't get enough of, what you want continuously. It's like an obsession, what you strive to get. That's Rahu. Ketu is what you're detached from, what you let go of, what you feel detached from. You know what I'm saying? And they say our Ketu can also represent spirituality. But remember what I said. It's like they're connected, but they're not. One is on one side of the chart at a degree, and the other is on the exact opposite end of the chart at the exact same degree. So let's say Rahu is in Taurus at 25 degrees. That means Ketu is going to be in Scorpio at 25 degrees. You understand what I'm saying now? Okay, Rahu is in Aries at 3 degrees. That means Ketu is going to be in Libra at 3 degrees. And those 2 points in your chart, those 2 points, they do not rotate in the chart the way the other planets do. Rahu and Ketu don't rotate from first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house. No, they go, what they say, it's called, what they do is they go backwards. Like they say they're always in retrograde. Well, what they do is go backwards. Like from first house, 12th house, 11th house, 10th house, 9th house, 8th house, 7th house. You get the gist of what I'm saying. All right. And each of these planets have aspects. Sun's aspect is right across 7th house from itself. Moon aspect is right across 7th house from itself. Mars aspects is the 4th. It aspects the 4th house from itself, the 7th house from itself, and the 8th house from itself. All right. Venus aspects the 7th house from itself, just like Sun and Moon. Mercury aspects the 7th house from itself, just like Sun, Moon, and Venus. Okay. Now Saturn aspects the 3rd house from itself and the 10th house from itself. Okay. And Jupiter aspects the 5th house from itself, the 7th house from itself, and the 9th house from itself. Now, Rahu and Ketu, their aspects are like Jupiter's aspects. Rahu and Ketu aspects the 5th house from them, the 7th house from them, and the 9th house from them. And while their aspects are like Jupiter's aspects, that's how for a whole nother video. But for right now, at least y'all got the gist, the basics of the planets of the Zodiac, the luminaries, and the aspects. Alright? If y'all feel as though it's not detailed enough, we're going to go deeper and deeper as we get on with this channel. I'm just trying to lay out the basics right now. So when I do go into the deeper things, and when I do start dissecting things like the planets, the placements, the aspects, the transitions through the signs, the birth charts, and all the different divisional charts, when I do get to that stuff, I'm trying to make sure that y'all have videos that y'all can go back to listen to and to understand where I'm going with it, so y'all don't get confused. If y'all ever get confused, I can just refer y'all to a previous video I did, and y'all can be like, okay, and y'all can just go to a more advanced video that I'm doing at the time and listen and understand what I'm saying. Okay, but anyway, this about wraps up this video, and until the next video, this is Hood Astrology, the Hood Astrologer. I'll see y'all next time. Be blessed.